This wellness session is provided to you by the CCHS Wellness Team. Please contact CCHS Wellness at cchealth.org if you have any questions. Just a friendly reminder, this is not meant to be medical advice and is not a replacement for advice from a physician. Hi, I'm Kaki. Just to quickly introduce myself, I am a Japanese wellness writer and author, and today I'll be speaking about helping Gen Z find optimism through Japanese perseverance in the age of uncertainty. I realize that I've included Gen Z in the title, but even if you're not necessarily a part of this demographic, if you are someone struggling with the uncertainty of today's world, I believe that this video can be helpful to you. But first, I feel like we should spend a second to recognize it. Gen Z have it hard. Soaring living costs, climate change, and the lasting societal and economic impacts of COVID-19. Many of us face unique social and political challenges compared to previous generations, and this struggle is not necessarily this generation's fault. But while it's easy to blame our struggles on what is out of our control, while it may provide momentary comfort, this kind of thinking is not necessarily helpful for us in the long term. Instead, if you're struggling, let me offer you a perspective that may provide comfort while also empowering you with the confidence to help you find optimism and peace and ultimately solutions. Don't worry, I'm not going to just tell you to be positive. While this is usually well-intentioned advice, to just be positive can be considered its own form of rejecting our negative feelings. Ironic as it is, sometimes the pressure to always be positive and forward-looking can feel very overwhelming and morph into its own form of self-criticism when you aren't really able to take on that optimistic outlook. Contrary to unrelenting optimism, when it comes to managing life's challenges, Japanese culture is often about taking on the perspective of acceptance or ukgeire. Historically, Japanese society has faced a lot of challenges, simply because they have faced a lot of natural disasters. If you are, just to give a brief background around Japanese geography, they're located on the Ring of Fire, which is a place that is geographically high risk for things like earthquakes, tsunamis, and typhoons. And because Japan is an island, they actually have a very mountainous terrain, and because of that, agriculture could actually be very difficult. Living in a place in this kind of environment, many things end up feeling out of your own control. But instead of growing pessimistic and frustrated with these harsh conditions, Japanese culture learned to develop a unique perspective towards struggle that isn't necessarily your own fault. And this is through the value of finding acceptance. Ukgeire, or acceptance, means that you don't need to see the bright side in everything. You don't need to be necessarily super positive, but first, try finding acceptance in it. For a moment, allow the situation to be as it is, and, almost relax in that peace. Some things are out of your control. From this acceptance, a hard but important lesson emerges. Sometimes we are responsible for addressing things that are out of our control. In other words, an earthquake may not be your fault, but you still must fix the broken roof. To accept this truth is to empower yourself with the belief that you can successfully navigate your struggles. It may not be your fault, but you're going to address it. Sounds easy, but what if taking action doesn't necessarily come naturally to us? This can be especially true when the struggle you're facing is new or particularly large in scale. And in this case, I would suggest that it is very helpful to focus first on your health. By taking care of our physical health, we put ourselves in a position where we are much more well-equipped to take on challenges. To eat well, exercise regularly, and get good sleep is the foundation to overcoming situations that can feel too difficult to handle. Taking care of our health helps us maintain our independence, boost our confidence, helps us keep calm, and ultimately it helps us feel empowered to find solutions. This is a really big reason why Japanese schools place a really strong emphasis on things like PE and providing well-rounded school lunches. Many often incorporate school-wide morning stretches or require students to help prepare and serve school lunches. The value of personal health is seen as something that's really integral to a person's success. And you may be thinking, oh gosh, I'm not the healthiest person. Is my foundation bad? Am I doomed? Don't worry, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the healthiest person to confront your struggles. Perhaps you haven't been eating super well or exercising as much as you'd like to. That's okay. Starting now counts. In fact, it's probably what is most important. When we speak about eating well and exercise, most people focus, on the long-term outcome, like, oh, I need to eat well and exercise to lose weight, build muscle, running faster, etc. But those things take time. And, I feel like we should recognize that there are immediate effects to exercising and eating well. It makes us feel good and it boosts our confidence. And that is all the reason you need to start. If you're not sure where to start, maybe you're not in the habit of, creating really healthy meals, or exercise isn't really part of your normal routine, here are some very easy things that you can do. They're just some ideas like starting your morning with a 3-minute stretch, or doing some breathing exercises before you open your email or start work. Something else is taking a walk around the block during your lunch break, or this is a tip that I use very often, but adding an extra cup of vegetables to my meals. I often use frozen vegetables, but I kind of just add it to whatever I'm having for dinner that night anyways. So if I was going to have pasta, I might add some frozen spinach to the sauce. If I'm having some beef stew, I might add some frozen carrots. Something else that's relatively, easy to incorporate is replacing a soda or juice habit with water. Trying to get into bed 30 minutes earlier. 30 minutes is a lot. You can make it 15 or 10. Or spending 5 minutes tidying up a corner of your room. These are just some ideas that anyone can really do, but you should also think about what would make most sense for your own lifestyle. Try engaging in some of these activities and, try and notice how it shifts your mood or perspective. Overwhelming tasks may feel a little bit more manageable after. In short, here are the final takeaways I hope you leave with. The first is that, you don't need to be positive all the time. Sometimes it's actually healthier to focus on ukeire, or acceptance first. Second, acceptance helps us understand that, we must be responsible for adjusting to things that are out of control. This doesn't need to be a frustrating realization. It can also be empowering. And lastly, if you struggle with acceptance, try to focus first on your health. It's fundamental to how we see and interpret the world, and the benefits of exercise and eating well are immediate for our mental well-being. The Japanese perspective towards perseverance has showed me that while my struggles aren't necessarily my fault, they are my responsibility, and this doesn't need to be some sort of scary truth. When we learn to find acceptance, we know that whatever comes our way, we are actually capable of confronting it. By taking care of our physical health, we can boost our sense of confidence, and from this confidence, we can learn to find the strength to acknowledge, the randomness of bad luck, but still decide to take responsibility for it, which can eventually help us find optimism and peace, and then ultimately solutions. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you learned, sign up for my newsletter or follow me on Instagram at these links. You can also buy my book, Why the Art of Balance, which is available on Amazon and other retailers. It was written for people who want to find a more sustainable way to live healthfully in a way that brings them joy. I talk about stress relief and finding peace, but cover the topics of eating well, exercise, and how to build meaningful relationships. Thank you so much. As a final reminder, this wellness session is provided to you by the CCHS Wellness team. Please contact CCHS Wellness at cchealth.org if you have any questions. Thank you.